Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Card is Going to Change. That's right, AIW's very own podcast. And my name is Alex Worldwide Keller, and I just want to tell you all about one of our great sponsors. That's right, Pollyanna DIY, PollyannaDIY.com, at Pollyanna DIY on Twitter, Instagram, and etc. And what Pollyanna DIY has to offer you, they have excellent original wrestling enamel pins, shirts, including the Extreme Roots 91 t-shirt. Checking my hair right now. I have some medium roots. Take care of that in a bit. That's right. They have it all. And wrestling promoters and wrestlers, if you're looking to get into the enamel pin game or t-shirts, Pollyanna DIY wants to hook it up. Now let's take it to the show. The reason you hit download, the card is going to change.
Hello once again, everybody. Thanks for listening to AIW's The Card is Going to Change. Before we get into this week's episode, as always, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors that help us bring the show to you for free each and every week. Firstly, thanks to Angelo's Pizza. They're feeding us here as they always do while we record, and they, of course, bring pizza to you at our live events at Mount Carmel. If you want to try more of their pizza or anything else on their menu, it's all delicious. Head to Angelo's on Madison Avenue in Lakewood, Ohio. And thanks to Smart Mark Video, they record all of our live events. And if you want to relive any of those or watch them for the first time, you can purchase that on DVD or digital download from smartmarkvideo.com. And additionally, head to powerbomb.tv, sign up using the code ABSOLUTE, and you will get a 20-day trial for free. And then stick around and just keep watching the shows that we put out there from the AIW archives. And as always, thanks to Jack Prince, who helps take care of all of our printing and graphic design needs. They can do all of that and more for you, whether it be banners, t-shirts, business cards, flyers, everything and anything. For all that they have to offer, head to jackprince.com.
JAKPrince.com.
Whew, that was a lot of enthusiasm right there. That was none other than the Duke. He is joining us on this episode. Bartender Nick Sanka, welcome back again.
Back again.
It's been a long time since we heard from you, and now, a couple times over like a month or two or whatever it's been.
Yeah, I'm using all my free nights on podcasting with you guys.
There you go, man.
You're going to regret that. You're going to want a night out some night.
We'll see how it goes.
This is his night out. And then, of course...
Going to Wolfie's?
Nah, probably not.
Duke loves his bar named Wolfie's.
I don't even know. I went there one time. This is how stuff spirals out of control.
Shout out to Wolfie's.
Where's Wolfie's located?
It's in Elyria somewhere. I don't even know what street it's on.
Is that your softball sponsor?
No.
Who's your softball sponsor?
Actually, it's a client of mine.
Oh,
sponsors
He's in
us.
the
Can't say
60,
that. Can't
50
say.
and older league, so they don't do bars anymore.
Yeah, it's
They
like
do like,
stocks.
clients and
We're
shit.
sponsored by Wells Fargo. Edward
Also,
Jones.
shout out to our dude at Angelo's, because
He hooked us up for
we
this.
really got hooked up for this podcast.
Oh, all the other times you were lying?
No.
No, this is actual sponsorship.
No, he gave us a little more than usual.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a little deal discount typically, but this time, really hooked up.
You guys never invited me when Thorne gets the veal.
No, sorry.
Big fan of the veal.
Yeah.
Oh, I love veal.
Chandler used to get those breaded mushrooms. So we also, of course, as always, joined by AIW owner John Thorne. My name is Steve Guy. I'm your moderator of sorts. And in this episode, we told you guys we'd be back for more. And, well, we're back. Some of the worst moments in AIW's history. More of them.
People enjoyed the first
They
round.
did. And
5 stars. Rate is 5 stars.
Too much. I think they enjoyed hearing that shit.
look, I said things were worse than what we said on there, and it gets worse for sure.
I don't know if it gets worse, but it is equally as bad.
Equally as bad? Okay.
Thorne thinks he could run like 6 podcasts full of material.
Oh god.
Now, sometimes what Thorne thinks
if
is really,
if Chandler was still alive and like with his impeccable memory, we could
true.
we could have a whole side podcast on the bad shit. Like
There-
my memory is a little foggy.
there are definitely moments though where Thorne like thinks things are awful and it's all going to end, but it's gonna be okay.
It's just his generally defeatist attitude. That he
Yeah,
has.
that's typically his demeanor towards things.
Duke's just not used to being around an alpha like me.
Whatever. You're so beta.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Nick Senka, how's parenting life?
It's still good, man. Still good. Running smooth.
Yeah, and when's the wedding gonna happen?
It's still up in the air. It's still
wedding's-
up in the air.
They're going to test out this kid thing more and see
I think
if
they're
it
just
pans
doing.
out.
I think they're just doing common law at this point.
Just common law at this
What
point?
is common law? Because
You just stay.
usually
You just stay
7
together.
years.
Yeah, you stay together long enough.
It's actually
in the same house, though, right? Like
Yeah.
living together.
Yeah.
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 They
Okay,
actually
so
got rid of it. Though.
Still got some time.
Oh, did they get rid of
in
it?
Ohio? Yeah, it's state by state in Ohio.
You
it's
looked
got
into
rid of
that.
it. I, as an ordained minister, yes.
Oh,
these are things
good
that I
for
had.
you.
to
Are you in
kind of
Hornswoggle
learn.
common law?
Am I? What's that?
Are you in Hornswoggle common law?
No, he hasn't been here 7 years consecutively.
That's not why you looked it up to make
Thank
sure you
God.
and Eddie and Swaggle weren't married?
Yeah, yeah. I bring that up, Nick Sanko, because you're not married yet. You are, in fact, engaged.
No, I'm not.
You didn't propose to her ever? No. You're still not engaged
Not even in the delivery room when she's all sweaty and crying. And
What? I
everything,
thought
and
this
they-
was a thing. I thought you were you proposed and you were engaged.
Not engaged. Just got
fighting a tooth and
a
nail.
little
My
over
God.
6
That was
month baby.
That was I think that was on the docket before the baby came into play.
I think it was going to happen. Is
That's
that
a
what
good
it was?
call, Thorne. Yeah, that's where we were.
And I forget the announcement.
They were
sidebar.
Yeah, there was a trip planned. I remember, and that's where it was going to go down. But
There it is.
where they discovered the pregnancy just shortly before it happened and went out the window.
Oh man. Well,
You got a ring?
No. You want to shoot me some cash, dude?
No,
Kids are expensive.
I thought if it was going to happen, I thought maybe you might have one already.
we are now in the days of 6-figure Duke as opposed to 5 figures. So
Yeah, but it's 6 figures because I ain't buying rings for everybody.
Well,
Come on.
it's supposed to be 3 months salary.
You just grocery shop for the real world.
But that's Nick's
2 months salary.
All right, well, it's Nick Senka's 2 months salary, not yours. You can splurge for that.
Yeah, that's my salary is probably like a fourth of yours.
Yeah.
Come on, don't put me on the spot, Steve guy.
Unfortunately, I just put him on the spot. Now I feel bad about it because where I was going with that
I'm cool, but I'm not 6 figures cool.
is, I'm talking about marriage, kids, engagements, so to speak. Nick Senka, you're a big fan, apparently, of MTV shows. We all know that. You love tweeting
me
about
and
the
Thorne
challenge.
both.
You love the challenge.
Love it.
Love it.
Tell me about
Matthew
this.
Justice, big fan of the challenge too.
Tell me about this show, Engage and Underage.
Not a fan of that one.
I didn't really watch that show, but I did know the MTV crews were in the crowd that night.
Yeah, I think you got to set this. You didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't go full segue into that one.
All right.
You worked hard, but you don't know the story, so it's hard for you to
Exactly.
do the segue. Yeah.
Exactly.
The
Set the
story
scene for me.
is there was this terrible show on MTV called Engaged and Underage, which
Right.
highlighted young people making poor choices and getting married super young.
It actually was the precursor for
Probably. I mean, they weren't teenagers like Teen Mom and
Teen
stuff.
Mom.
Teen Mom.
Yeah. They weren't teenagers, but so one of the previous owners' brother was going into the military and he was 19 or 20 years old.
Okay.
And
I think they might have been 18.
well,
They were underage.
18, 19, who cares?
And engaged.
And he wanted to marry his girlfriend before he went to the military. So they made a tape, as people are wont to do, and send it into MTV to be famous. And sure enough, MTV picked him, and the previous owner had a bachelor party, effectively, for his brother at Peabody's. And the MTV Engaged and Underage crew was there, and there was a guest list, and there was
Oh yeah, we were there for that.
yeah,
one.
I was there. You were there. There was all kinds of stuff going on there.
I don't know if my face made it on TV or not though. I don't recall.
I don't think I'm not sure if I did either. I don't remember. but
Before the days of DVR.
we had to sign releases, we had to get checked out to make sure we were on the list. And
Sure, you can find that episode on the Fire Stick.
oh, I'm sure it exists somewhere.
I have to look for that.
But his band played, and they were terrible. And that's pretty much all that I remember happening.
Well,
What does this have to do with-
move forward?
yeah.
that week there was an AIW event,
Uh-huh.
and the couple came to the AIW event, which meant the MTV film crew came to the AIW event. And there was all sorts of fancy, large video cameras all throughout the crowd. This during what I would say is the rowdiest era of AIW.
Okay.
The first 2 years. And one Nick Sanka and his brother were not a big fan of the MTV film crew.
No, we were big fans. They weren't big fans of us. We pretty much followed them around the whole night, heckling them, looking for CT, Johnny Bananas, TJ Lavin, anybody we could get our hands
Those
on.
people didn't even exist back then, did they?
Yeah.
They
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Did
Yeah.
they?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you
That
guys
was-
kept saying TJ Lavin.
And I think we ended up
You guys
trying
get-
to get in front of the camera, I think Chris might have threw some stuff at him.
You guys were throwing full cans of beer at the MTV camera crew.
We were. And was that Gauntlet for the Gold?
Yeah,
It was, right?
because
we were supposed to be in the Gauntlet for the Gold.
no, you guys thought you were going to be in it. And once again,
I had my hockey gear.
showed up with your gear.
Hey, what does a worker do?
He always has his gear back.
There you go.
You guys showed up with gear, and you guys wanted to be like Jimmy and Johnny the Puck, hockey player tag team. And you guys were hammered. And I said, you guys can't be in this. Because you were actually in Gauntlet for the Gold 1 as an Easter Bunny.
I was.
And
Is that the same gauntlet for the gold that featured Moonshine Muck McGee?
No, I was in 2. Oh, Brad was in 1. Moonshine.
okay, so then you did show up in this. No, you were in the first. You were in the first one because this is Gauntlet for the Gold 2.
Oh, okay. No, we didn't get in.
Yeah, you were in the first one as an Easter Bunny.
I think you actually ejected us from the building.
I didn't. Somebody else
Wise
did.
move.
I think the Peabody staff did because you guys were throwing beer cans at the MTV cameras.
That was
Some footage made it on the air.
Yeah, like Tyrone Evans.
Yeah.
Who's now known as.
That's where they
or
found
wa-
him.
Was formerly known as Michael Tarver.
That's where they found him.
Yeah, discovered on Engaged and Underaged. That's how he got on the WWE radar.
Discovered on engagement.
It's like that's like the only footage they showed because he was like just a big jacked black guy.
Yeah.
And just throwing a dude around and it's packed. You know what I mean? There's people everywhere, and
Was he wrestling straight edge Jimmy DeMarco?
I think he was wrestling Jimmy Kozar era Jimmy DeMarco.
Yeah.
That was before
the Browns fan.
Browns fan Jimmy DeMarco.
Brown super fan, Jimmy Kozar.
Yeah, a lot of failed gimmicks in that era. So the Sanka brothers yet again in the thick of the mischief, throwing full beer cans at the MTV crew because they were told they were not going to be entering the Gauntlet for the Gold.
All right.
I think it was all in fun at first until you told us we weren't allowed in the Gauntlet.
Then it turned serious.
That's when you got upset.
That's where we got upset.
Throwing
How
full
most
beer
things work.
cans.
It was
full
all
beer
in fun
cans
at first.
Yeah. Throwing full beer cans at a camera crew was totally fun at first until we got.
I was trying to keep my streak alive like Miriam Fontaine.
He didn't make it into part 2.
Made it one. One in a row.
All right. I was gonna try to push this thing out and hold this one off, but I can't.
But because of that, and every like proposal I've ever I sent out, I can say as seen on MTV
Yeah, that's true.
because AIW footage.
That used, to mean something. I don't know if it means anything anymore.
We
But
send that out for sponsor
You still put
deals.
that on
It's
stuff?
always in
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
You do not.
Yeah, I'll show you a proposal later.
Yeah, we use it when we try to pitch the sponsors too.
Yeah,
How did
sponsorship.
we get the Ebb Tide Treatment Center?
Exactly.
Hey, we were seen on
A
him.
lot of buy-ins to the Ed Tide Treatment Center.
They're no
You and
longer
your brother probably should stop by.
they're no longer affiliated.
Yeah.
But forever we could say as seen on MTV.
That's funny.
I swear to God, it's on everything we send out. Everything.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Can't take that away. There's no statute of limitations on when you were on MTV.
Yeah, you were on.
That's true.
No doubt about it.
Also, based on the last episode, it also says as heard on Rover's Morning Glory.
Yes. It does say that too. Yep.
As shit on by Rovers. Glory.
Hey, they don't know that.
All right. So, I can't hold this off anymore. You guys have talked about Peabody's so much.
Worst era, probably. Rowdiest era, worst era. A lot of bad shit happened to Peabody's.
Yeah, but this may have been the rowdiest. Apparently, there was quite the bloodbath at Peabody's. So much so that blood splattered all over their liquor bottles.
Okay, let's not give the whole story away here. Well,
Okay.
This is all you. 'Cause I
so
wasn't there.
my memory is foggy on this, but I was like trying to get some people to remind me what happened. We're talking 15 years ago, pretty much at this point.
All right.
This is the third AIW show ever. Ever. Third one. Second one ever at Peabody's. One of this is when it's like a collective group of people contributing ideas and things like that. And we're 2005, and ICP pretty popular at this time in 2005.
Whoop whoop.
Somebody gets the idea.
That's for Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler loved it. Somebody gets the idea. Let's try to book somebody, not ICP because they're very expensive.
Of course.
Let's book one of their Juggalo Championship wrestlers, because that's the name of their promotion, Juggalo Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
Let's book one of their wrestlers, and then we'll take our draw that we had from the first show, which was like friends and shit, and then we'll get Juggalos in there, and then we'll have it'll be sold out, because at this point we're competing with the Duke's promotion over here, Extreme War.
That is true.
Is that why you weren't there?
Yeah.
Running a competing show.
I don't think we ran. I don't know if we ran that night or not, but we heard.
I don't think against
we
it.
heard all the aftermath.
But
that's
so-
going to happen in a second here.
This is so the plan is like, let's try to get the Juggalo draw on top of everybody else that's going to be there. So somehow we wind up booking the Rude Boy, who was like an ICP, like, I don't know, like he's one of their like childhood friends or something. I don't know really what the fuck he does. But he was also a wrestler in Juggalo Championship Wrestling. And I was pretty much against this because I did not think, I thought unless you got ICP, nobody's going to give a fuck about this guy, and nobody's going to pay to see this guy. You got to have the main guys or nobody. I get outvoted on this. Sure enough, we book the old Rude Boy, and he's got like a rider, like he's like a star. He's got his own private locker room, and like he's got like an entourage of like Psychopathic Records people with him.
Juggalo Championship Wrestling, dude.
But he's got like an entourage of people with him, and like very like weird guy, and he's wrestling the Thrillbilly, Sloan Steele, which is mine and Nick's real life friend Rob.
Slow steel.
And who he was the first AIW Absolute Champion, which there was never a match for the title. He was just Rio de Janeiro'd him the championship. And
Pat Patterson in a tournament.
yeah,
Okay.
And I believe this is an AIW title match, if I'm not mistaken. My memory's a little foggy on it, but anyway, they start having this match, and we don't own a ring or anything at this point. And it's a rented ring.
Okay, I was gonna say you have a ring though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Tom Dunn, we're gonna have to have Tom Dunn on to further go into detail on this story, because he texted me today when I asked him about it, and he says he knows all sorts of more details. But we weren't really told what was gonna go on. They were just gonna have a match, and as this progresses, like it turns into like a fucking brutal bloodbath. Like the Rude Boy starts stabbing the Thrillbilly.
Wait, so your champion doesn't even tell you what's going to go on?
Oh, well, he didn't really know. It just
okay.
unfolds.
All right.
It just unfolds out there.
Excellent.
They call like a match or whatever, and like at this point, like the Thrillbilly, he hadn't really wrestled anybody really outside of like people he knew, and he's just yes, like yeah, like that's fine, like let's do it.
Yeah.
He's a big, tough dude, like I don't know how tall, like 6'5", 6'6",
400 pounds.
350 probably.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Okay.
I posted this on a picture of this match on my personal Instagram like weeks ago, but they start having this match, and like the Rude Boy starts stabbing him with scissors, like for real. And they start like then Rob is a tough guy. He starts fighting back, and like the Rude Boy's bleeding for real. And like then their wives start fighting in the crowd, each other, and they start fighting all over the place. And the Rude Boy is like slices and dices himself for a gig job and is just bleeding everywhere.
This is the kind of match that drunk Swoggle thinks he can have.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're fighting all over the bar, and he's bleeding so much that he's getting blood. Like they go behind the bar, he's getting blood in the liquor bottles, and like all kinds of disgusting stuff. And then he starts throwing up on himself in the middle of the ring, and it goes to like a no finish. And like he throws up on himself, and like he's acting like he's like having a heart attack or something. And he's puking all over this ring that's not ours. JT Lightning is motherfucking us.
He's there.
It's his
JT's
ring,
right? Yeah.
It's Jeff Traxler's canvas, brand new canvas. This guy's puking on it, like spitting blood on it. Like,
Sink, are you here for this?
Yeah, I was actually just in the crowd, and I wasn't too drunk, just witnessing it, and it was pretty brutal.
Hepatitis everywhere.
Yeah.
And
What
like
a
when he
moment
did
for you
that
to not be drinking.
He did that fake heart attack thing and laid in the ring at the end. It was that last match, right?
yeah, and
he
like
laid in the ring
he
for
made
like
us
40 minutes.
He made us call an ambulance because he said he couldn't breathe.
What?
And he's puking on himself, and then the ambulance gets there, and the paramedics are looking at him, and then he gets to the back, and he just stands up like everything's fine. He's like, "That's how you tell the story, brother." And like, everyone's like everyone is furious because he has ruined the ring. The venue's pissed because like we've gotten blood all over the liquor bottles.
Yeah.
We ruined Jeff Traxler's brand new canvas. There's an ambulance there that somebody has to pay for.
Yeah.
And the wives are fighting. Rob and Thrillbilly and the Rude Boy are like getting into a fucking altercation backstage.
Now a real one.
Yeah, and it's just that is so. This becomes 3 shows in. We feel that we're probably out of business because we're looking at lawsuits. The venue wants us to repay them for thousands of dollars worth of ruined liquor.
Yeah, there's health code violations and shit there. Like they can't use those bottles.
Well, not to mention
yeah.
that we're in the middle of this Cleveland Wrestling War thing, and I don't know who is there on the Duke's side, but word gets out.
It got back to us. I know that.
Word gets out, and then there's
laughed.
and then there's somebody in the Duke's camp. I'm not saying it's the Duke, but somebody in the Duke's camp calls the health board,
I can tell you it wasn't me.
and
You would do.
there's a health inspection of the venue.
I didn't care that much. It wasn't me.
So Peabody's almost gets shut down because of this, and here we are. This is only our second show there, and they were like, "Fuck you guys," you know what I mean? Like, we did not have a show there again for 4 or 5 months before they let us come back.
What was your next show there? Do you know?
It was Gauntlet for the Gold One with
Goes back to Nick Sank.
Nick Sank of the Bunny Rabbit,
Yeah. What venue did you guys go to after that?
the Beachland Ballroom.
Oh, okay.
There was another riot at that one, actually.
The casket match?
Yeah. Tom Dunn fucking
What is
pump
this?
kicked you, I think.
Oh, I was trying to get into the ring, I think.
Oh, yo, tell it.
Well, no, I don't really remember too well, but
It's that Tom Dunn
when
kicked
we
your head.
were drunken fans all the time, like, we would always test each other to see who get in the ring because we thought we had no consequences because our buddy, good
There were
buddy,
always some consequences,
owned,
as Weird
owned the
Body has
company.
told us.
So we were invincible. And I think Tom Dunn tells the story, but I don't remember it too well. But he says he booted me back into the crowd.
Yeah, he did like a running pump kick.
Who was having the casket match?
Me and EC3.
Okay.
And Chris Sanka built the casket.
Yeah, his brother built the casket.
Is that why he felt like he should be
That's
involved
what
in the
gave him a
match?
pass was-
yeah, exactly.
I think he did.
Get out of my casket,
He's
you
trying to
sons
tell
of
Tom
bitches.
Dunn, I'm the guy. Did he pull a "Do you know who I am"?
I think he did use that against you all the time.
Stop taking that fucking casket.
When you guys were fighting and stuff, when you were roommates.
Oh, yeah, because the other AIW owner who commissioned it, like, they worked out some kind of deal, and then he never, like, paid him for it. But I didn't talk to him about it. Like it wasn't my deal that I set up. So like when me and him were roommates and we would argue, he'd be like, "Fuck you! You never paid me for that fucking casket." And then at one AIW show after that, where we had the casket at, him or Danny Sanka, who helped him build it, they took the top to it, and that's why there's no more top to it. Like there's no top to the casket. We just have a casket in the storage unit with no top because they took it back because they never got paid for it.
Frickin' Sankas.
Let me ask you this, John Thorne, because there's a recurring theme between this episode and the previous episode where we covered these things. Every terrible, horrible thing that has happened in AIW, you've said, I was totally against this, and then it happened. Was there anything horrible and terrible that you were on board with and it just shit the bed?
Oh, I don't know.
Or did you have the
Probably.
foresight?
Thorne's got a mind of gold.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly.
Okay.
Like, because I'm based on all these stories we're telling you, you may not think so, but I like trying to look at things from all angles of
Right.
where this could go wrong.
Yeah,
As a lot of people see that are in on things now, I always will like go worst case scenario and everything and try to
we have these conversations.
find a way for things
constantly.
why it's not going to work. So I don't know if I was ever like, yeah.
Okay.
I guess the only poor decision that I ever made was the night before Absolution 2 I wrestled the Duke in the scaffold match. I had a girl over my house.
Oh, yes, we've talked about this.
And I had a big thing of thumbtacks.
Yep.
And I had sex with her on the bed of thumbtacks.
Thumbtacks, yeah.
And then I put them back in the thing.
Right.
And then we used them in the match
And
the
then
next
you guys
day.
wrestled on them, yes.
The only two people that were involved in the thumbtacks were Fat Nick and you. So, I mean,
His girlfriend got so mad when I told that story at a party once and made him go get an AIDS test.
smart girl.
Well, then
Makes you guys Eskimo brothers.
let me ask you this, because one of the things on the list, and maybe it was your idea, maybe it was not, but I believe it was called Westfest at OU.
Okay, I was on board for this one.
Okay.
This was actually
This turns out great,
yeah.
but it starts off grim.
Okay.
It starts off grim. Nick Seka, once again, performing on this card.
I was on this card. I was a different character this time too.
Duke, were you on this?
I was in Georgia at this time. I did
man.
not go.
You missed out. This
That's when
was
You didn't have the
required a
hockey gear
flight.
with you. No hockey gear with Nick Senka.
No, I was
You weren't Johnny Puck?
I was not
Jimmy Puck?
Jimmy Puck.
Jimmy
He was
Puck?
Jimmy Puck. His brother was Johnny
I was
Puck.
one half of the Poking Guns.
they dress like cowboys.
We dressed like cowboys and drew mustaches on.
Terribly bad, but funny.
And we wrestled our other friends. They were brothers.
But one
But
no-show.
one didn't want to.
Well, I guess before we get into it, let's lay out.
All right, go ahead.
We'll lay out this. I think we've talked about this back with Biggins, like in brief on the
Yes.
podcast. But our friend Brad, now known as Corporate Brad, he used to be crazier than all of these stories that we've told. He went to OU. He had a house with some of our other friends that from up here that we were friends with, and they were seniors and they wanted to throw a huge party. OU at this time is known as the second biggest party school in the country.
Yep.
We were going down there all the time for some kind of festival or something. There was
Number Fest.
yeah. I was at the Number Fest before it was a number. Like
Just used to be called, I think, Fest at some point. But
yeah, it was. We were down there this era before it turned. Now it's like a real music festival. Before you could just show up with your own alcohol. But anyway, they want to throw a party, so their thought is let's do an AIW show at our house in the backyard, and we're gonna take all the money that's left over from all of our student loans and all of our close friends, and we're gonna give you money to book some sort of name, and then we're gonna spend the rest of the money on kegs. So we decide the Honky Tonk Man is a recognizable guy that people would be like, oh, I know that guy. You know what I mean? This is like 2007.
And we had already booked him in Michigan, right?
And so we do this. We book the Honky Tonk Man, and then we book like a mishmash of wrestlers because this is right when AIW splits off. So we're left with like like a weird crew of wrestlers. Like Sammy Callahan was on this show, Super Oprah, Michael Tarver. It's like a weird.
Michael Tarver wrestled like 3 matches.
Yeah, it's like a weird. Like everyone's doing double duty. Matt Wadsworth wrestles on this show. And
This is where Pedro, I believe the story goes, became the ring announcer.
I believe
his
so.
First time being a ring announcer.
I believe so. And yeah, I wrestled Matt Wadsworth, and we do like shit with barbed wire because like there's like all these girls around, and I have a girlfriend at the time, so I can't even. My girlfriend's there. I can't even like try to hit on any of these girls or anything. So Matt Wadsworth decides he's gonna get in the ring. So maybe some girls wanna get with Matt Wadsworth because he's a pro wrestler.
Right.
So I do something where I like wrap his face in barbed wire or something. Like we did something crazy. But before this happens, like we get the ring set up, and like they buy like 30 kegs or 50 kegs, some ridiculous amount, like thousands and thousands of dollars on kegs, and they're all over the yard. And like we say like, oh, we're gonna start at 4 p.m. or whatever, and like nobody is there. And like nothing's going on, and like we got the honky tonk man hidden away at his hotel, and we're like, we don't want to. Now we're like seeing the situation with our own 2 eyes, and it's like literally a backyard wrestling show, and we're like, we don't want to go get the honky tonk man and just have him hang out in his driveway. So we're like stalling him and stuff, and like nobody's there. Like we wanted him to like roll up and there'd be like hundreds of people there.
Right.
Well, nobody's coming. Nobody's coming to this fucking thing, and like this is where like we start feeling like a lot of anxiety, and then finally, like 5 o'clock, an hour after it's supposed to start, we just go, okay, we're gonna go get the honky tonk man. Like, fuck it, and we get the honky tonk man, and he shows, we pick him up, and he's in full gear, like full jumpsuit,
Go, yeah.
like jumpsuit, guitar, everything, And as soon as he gets out of the car in that jumpsuit, it's like the bat signal went off, and like people were like looking from their roofs and stuff, and like I don't know what happens, but then people just flood this
Sea of
backyard.
people,
Like
the whole backyard.
yeah, it's like they were waiting to see if it was real. You know what I mean? And as soon as the honky tonk man shows up, all these fucking like 500 people show up out of nowhere, and it's free beer for everybody that's there. And it just turns into
college kids. How do you just not turn up for free beer?
They turned up.
They
That's
had to wait.
mind-boggling.
They were waiting for the queue.
But at OU there was a party like that on every street every weekend at
All
that
right,
time.
that's fair.
So they turn up, and this one is out on DVD, but it is not. I wouldn't recommend picking it up. But Nick Stake's match unfortunately does not get filmed because the camera breaks.
It didn't.
No, it's not on it.
Are
no.
you upset about that?
Yeah, kinda.
What
It was
was
a good match.
what was your character name in that one?
The Poking Guns.
The Poking Guns. Yeah.
It was me and the guy that threw the party, Brad. And like I said, we were supposed to wrestle 2 of our brother friends, and one of them pussed out. So it was a 2-on-1 handicap match against.
Well, because I think he got hurt pogo sticking into a
no,
garbage
that was
can.
after.
Oh,
We had a pogo sticking competition later.
into garbage
So
cans
there's a
though.
pogo sticking comp.
Later in the night. That was just drunken. But what was his name?
Went from the Poking Guns.
The
to
Jesuit.
Poking Guns.
Jesuit.
The Jesuit. He was a very political man.
He cut
Jesuit was
cut
his-
an epic promo on all the college kids, how they're living their lives wrong, and he didn't get 1 ounce of offense in on us.
Yeah, you guys just beat him up for real.
We just beat him up for real.
Man, sounds a lot like 2018 Duke taking on some of these
2-on-1.
AIW celebrity guests.
But the crowd loved it,
Yeah, and there was like all these girls like getting in the ring and like
making out.
yeah, doing like all it was like Girls Gone Wild shit going on.
Well,
And then like
One chick had a foot cast. She was making out with
Matt Riot,
Matt Riot.
and then so like the girl who lived in the house, the one girl that lived in the house,
Yeah.
was mad at all these other girls like getting in the ring and getting attention.
Call them sluts. And
So she
stuff.
started like lighting cigarettes and throwing lit cigarettes at girls. It was a scene, man. It started off bad, but it turned out good. I guess that one's
Yeah, it turned out pretty good.
that's one that turned out good.
since you're already talking about girls, we might as well go there, because there are 2 girls' night out shows that made the list. let's start with McCarthy's.
Girls' Night Out 2.
Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible.
I'll let Duke take the reins on this
Well,
one.
no, it was before all of the I don't even think the people that were in McCarthy's.
I guess the politically correct term to say is this is before like people really embraced women's
Well, I was going to say
wrestling.
before the women's revolution and all that other, all the other stuff that they talk about.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean it is, and they're the majority of them are great and everything else, and they're great wrestlers and all that other stuff. But these guys that were at this bar,
because this was a bot show, so like
Okay.
the bar promoted it and stuff like that.
and it's like a bar not in the flats proper, but in the flats.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
West-
on the West Bank.
West Bank of the
Yeah,
Flats.
As you go down towards Shooters.
yeah. I'm saying it's not on the water, is what I mean.
Right, yeah. It's not on the water. Right across from the Harbor Inn.
Yeah,
For
so,
people not familiar with Cleveland, downtown by the
by
water.
shooters,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And they hang up, if they're hanging up signs that say women's wrestling or girls' night out wrestling, all the dudes are seeing is they're seeing, oh, there's going to be women here. It's going to be, Jello wrestling or mud wrestling or
Yeah,
something
they
like that.
get pudding, mud,
so we're
yeah.
setting up the ring, and
And apparently, like they promote it to like bachelor parties and stuff.
there was a bachelor party that was there.
Okay.
And we find that out before the show starts. And he's like, I want you and Nick to go up there and do something with the Bachelor, and then have
We're talking Fat Nick,
yeah
not Senka. Okay.
sorry, and cut a promo, and then have him sit in a chair and have like one of the girls, we'll bring one of the girls out,
Yeah.
and it's super Oprah, so we're just like
All right.
ribbing the guy and everything else. And he wanted nothing to do with it. He wouldn't play along. Everyone in the crowd is just like, show me your tits and all this other bullshit. And it's just like, and there's Haley's on the show.
Sarah Del Rey.
Sarah Del Rey's on. There's a lot of talented women on the show, and it was just a bad scene because most creepy women's wrestling fans aren't. They're just creepy. They're not vocal and loud and
Right.
whatever else. These guys were just
They were acting like they were at the strip club.
yeah, because that's what they
Gotcha.
that's what they thought, and and it just the show just nothing really worked on the show, and there's a lot of good workers and good matches, and it just laid a fucking egg because the people there were just awful.
How many people do you think besides the bachelor party?
The bachelor party, 15.
How many people? I mean, aside from them,
Like
other people showed up.
Probably like 100.
yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's a good.
And it,
that's a good
and it
turnout.
was
It just sucks that they were all.
It was 100, 100 or so,
assholes.
and it was like we were like within this boundary of these beams
Yeah,
inside.
they have
so it like fit.
pillars that go up and down.
Thank you, pillars.
Right,
Is the word I was
posts.
looking for.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
and so the ring like fit right in between
It
all
barely
the stuff.
fits there, yeah.
and so the crowd was right on top of them and everything else, and it was a good show. It's just that people just made it terrible.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So you would have rather had the pervs, is what you're saying?
Well, because at least they
Somehow-
appreciate what
the
they're
wrestling.
seeing.
Yeah. Nick Senka, you go to that show?
I was not at that show. Do not remember that or
Surprise,
recall
surprise.
that one.
All right.
I was at the next one you're going to talk about.
Yeah, because the next one is we talking about Girls Night Out.
I'm not sure which number it was.
Okay, but it happens in the dead of winter.
No,
was a double.
It's April. It happens in April.
This is in April?
Yeah.
Oh, this is...
We talked about this
is
a little
very-
bit, I think, but
We did. We've talked about it in passing because we talked about the main event because this was an afternoon show, right?
it was a double header.
Yeah, it was a
That
doubleheader.
We used to run them doubles before. Yeah.
But I mean, this just goes to show, like, the moral of the story is like this is when Turner's Hall it was a shit building,
This
and
is
this
at Turner's Hall, yes.
this is when Turner's Hall becomes like the shittiest of buildings ever because they just don't. They decide they're just gonna let the heat go out, and
Either not pay the bill or not fix the system or whatever.
in fairness,
whatever
April,
it was.
in Cleveland, they could have just if it's a building.
Are you sure it was April?
it was April. I know it was April because it was.
It wasn't December because it was cold as.
Yeah,
We got hit. We got hit with a blizzard in April.
I'm willing to bet you that it was April of either 07 or 08.
No, it's
because-
later. It's later than that.
It was
later?
like
This is like
11 or
4 years
12
ago.
Yeah,
No, it might have been like 13 or 14.
yeah.
Okay, only because I was going to say the Indians game, the home opener in April, got snowed out.
It
that
was
year.
whenever,
We
whichever.
weren't running Turners back then.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that was like
It's
11.
whatever
Yeah.
girls' night out that Athena wrestled Mia Yim.
Right.
I think maybe, I don't know,
11 and 12? Or?
11 and 12 or something like that. But this is when the building has no heat. The girls are coming to the ring in their winter jackets.
And of course, they're being very understanding about the fact that it was cold, not complaining at all.
Of course they are.
But yeah, and just rolling with it and doing what they can, to have the show.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's nothing we could do. Like, we didn't know that they didn't have heat.
Right.
We didn't know that we didn't have heat there. We didn't know that the blizzard was not predicted. It comes out of nowhere.
Well, that's what I was going to say. In some buildings in Cleveland, if they're older, the way the systems work, you either are full-on AC
Break it down,
or you're
Steve.
full-on heat. And you can only switch it over to being one or the other. And if it's in April...
No, this
benefit of the
This
doubt,
was full on nothing.
They
Yeah, they-
switched
they-
it over to...
No, they
now
didn't
we're
switch
gonna be
anything over
AC.
because they didn't have AC either.
Oh,
They-
good God.
They
Learn that, I think, later on.
Later
I
on?
hear.
yeah, like
Okay.
they just did not have heat.
And for those of you who are about to say that neither does Mount Carmel, sorry, kids, it does. We didn't discover it for a point in time. All right.
What's that?
That Mount Carmel doesn't have AC. It does.
No, they have AC.
It took us a hot minute to discover it, but then
a lot
also
of body.
They're not a big fan of turning it on, but yeah,
when you
they've got it.
when you put 500-600 people in there, like
no, it's on. There's
it
just too
gets-
many.
yeah,
There's just
a lot
too
of
many
bodies,
people
a lot
in
of
there.
bodies. All
But
right, continue.
yeah, that was an awful day because it's like you feel like a shitty promoter because like you're running this slum building that
Yeah.
doesn't have heat.
That wasn't iPay-per-view day, was it?
No, this was just a double header taping.
All right.
Speaking of that shitty building, do you remember the time the bartenders weren't there?
Well, you reaped that's the last show at Turner's Hall we ever
And I
did.
made a lot of money that night.
I
yeah.
thought that there was a story about it being bitter cold during iPay-per-view.
No, it was really hot
Oh, that's okay. That's what it was. It's
during
the opposite.
Absolution 8, and we lost power because it was so hot.
That's what
Yeah, 'cause
I was gonna
Everything
say, there was something
overheated.
about power. Yeah.
All the computer equipment that was doing the stream overheated.
Yeah,
And so
because
we
they-
had to shut it down for like 15 minutes.
Because they didn't have AC. There was one show though, like around. It might have been. I don't know if it was this show or not, but one show, we went. Me and Biggins went and bought a shit ton of portable heaters, and like one of the shows, you could see like just a bunch of portable heaters plugged in
I
on
think
DVD.
this was the show because I believe we talked about it with Biggins. Wasn't this the show as well that I don't remember if it was him or you? Somebody you had to pick up Athena. I think.
Yeah,
it was,
yeah.
Because it was the main event. There was a snowstorm. And you drive
She
down there
her flight got canceled, and I had to drive all the way to Akron in the snowstorm to get her because
to bring her to.
she
this
couldn't
show.
get anything to Cleveland. So that was another like the Trick Davis thing that we talked about on the last time we did this.
Yes.
We had to tape that match.
right.
We had to tape that match at the beginning of the second taping and then edit it
Yeah.
in.
There was the first match
because we
of
did a
that
double.
doubleheader,
We did a
the
double
second-
shot. So yeah, that's right.
At least it was the same venue.
Yeah, at least it was the same venue.
But that's the thing.
Same
No,
shitty venue.
no heat on a double header. So you guys are there for 8 to 10 hours.
well, I wasn't there. I had to miss the entire first.
Well, you did.
because
That's
it
what I
took
was
me.
saying. None of them complained either.
It took
the
me
whole
about-
time.
That's incredible.
It took me
I was
about.
at 25
I'm
minutes.
being completely sarcastic. You know that, right?
No.
Oh yeah.
At first, I thought
No,
you weren't.
I'm being
I just
completely-
thought it
completely
when you said it that
sarcastic.
time. I was going to say, wait a minute.
No.
But the first time you said it, you made it sound like they were so nice.
No.
I mean, you can't blame them for
I can't
complaining.
blame
No,
but
you can't.
it was
you
like-
can't. But what can you
At some
do?
point, it's like, what do you want me to do about it?
Yeah. You guys went and got the heaters. What?
And conveniently, the venue people didn't even show up that day.
Of course not.
Gino 11.
Gino
Yeah,
11 and
12.
11 and 12.
Yeah.
Thanks to our research department over there, Weird Body. Appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. Were you said you were there, Sanka, or no?
Oh yeah, we walked in. I said hey to Thorne, and I.
Were you
walked right
bartending
out.
at that point?
Oh, they had their own bar.
Oh, you dipped out.
Yeah, but what he was going to say is the last show ever at Turner's Hall, they didn't show up at all, and Nick Sanko reaps the benefits of
Yeah,
it.
me and Barback Hot Rod. We took off to.
Oh,
the
Hot
lo-
Rod.
Yeah, we took off to the local store and bought like 11 cases of Natty
Yeah.
and sold them for about $3 each.
in the crowd, because everyone comes to the AIW shows to drink, And then this is when Turner's Hall was just giving up on everything.
Yeah.
No heat, and then they just didn't even show up to bartend, and they would make money, off we would pay them a rental, and then they would make money off the bar. And
They had a bar in the room.
Yeah.
And they had a side bar that people would hang out at like after the show and stuff.
Was that the birth of bartender Nick Sanka?
No, I did bartending before.
Yeah, but so like people are pissed. I believe Worldwide is one of those people, and Nick Seka and Hot Rod they actually took my car. I remember this. They took my car because for some reason somebody put light tubes in my car and my back seat.
Sure that wasn't you, just in case?
There was a light tube in my car, in the back seat, and they took my car to buy a bunch of cases of beer, and then they just tossed the cases of beer into my back seat and just popped the light tube, and there's glass all over my back seat.
Who, first of all, I just got to ask, because it's Hot Rod, did he work with you and then bounce without saying goodbye and left before it was over?
No, not that then. I think we drove in
he
together.
stayed. Oh, okay.
And we made a lot of money.
Oh, well, of course.
100% profits.
But who ran the food concessions at Turner's Hall towards the end? You guys or them? Was that
Us.
them too?
Us.
Oh, okay.
We always
I think
ran
we
this.
always did.
Yeah, we always ran it.
Oh, I'm just going to say, I went there multiple times. Too many times. Ran out of hot dogs. Come on, Monsoon.
Yeah, I think Monsoon was doing it back then.
Yeah, he's learned it.
Hot dogs were a big seller. Pizza's a big seller now.
Pizza's a big seller now.
Got that
There
Angelo's
wasn't-
with
yeah.
a plug there. Plug for Angelo's.
Yeah,
Got
there
that
wasn't
Angelo's
pizza really back then.
Yeah,
No, there was Pizza Pan or something, right?
No, Monsoon hooked up some deals back in those days.
Maybe a little less because we didn't have
Giorgio's?
the deal that we
Bella's.
have now.
Bella Pizza.
Because they had the stove there, so you could work those hot dogs and that nacho cheese right on that stove there.
Yeah, Monsoon inherited the concession gig from that used to be whatever girlfriend I had at the time. We used to do that.
And then it went over to Monsoon.
Yeah, Monsoon
I
took
think
it
that
over.
worked out much better.
You're dating Monsoon?
No. I would though. He's got a hell of a fucking video collection.
You did it for the video collection?
Never a dull moment.
How about that?
No. Monsoon big on the adultfriendfinder.com. Spoiler alert.
Paid apps.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Does he, Never mind. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
let's
bring
keep
up
it
this
moving.
Episode.
Let's keep it moving.
I didn't know if he wanted some powder, that's all.
Really working that powder there, Steve guy.
Yeah, it's been a few weeks since we brought it up, so. Final thing
It
here.
just seems like minutes ago.
Well, it wasn't. Final thing I want to bring up here. Absolution 3. This is something in, as we kind of run down the list of like, oh yeah, I remember this. You guys were like, oh, what about Absolution 3? And I know nothing else of it. All I know is that something triggered your memories and you guys were like, write that down.
Well, there were 3 things that come to mind about Absolution 3 that
Well, the
make it
first
bad.
thing, the question was, name something shitty that happened at AIW. And so, whoa, Absolution 3.
Thing number 1 is we're running Mulberries in the Flats, and we used to have a video screen and stuff, and Absolution, we do like the opening Absolution promos and stuff. So we filmed them in the afternoon, and then we had somebody rendering the opening package out.
Yeah.
Well, something happens with his computer, and it's fucking up, and the show ends up starting 3 hours late.
We all refused to start the show for some reason until the rendering was done. And
You guys are big time.
the first match is War Games.
A cage match.
And so the cage is up, and it's 6 o'clock.
We had two rings?
7 o'clock. No,
No, just one ring.
6
Okay,
o'clock.
all right.
Or no, did we start at 4 o'clock back then?
Nah.
It was like whatever time
This
was
is back
start
when
time.
Absolution was on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was start time. Then it was a half an hour past start time. Then an hour past start time. And we're all like, why don't we just fucking start? And the guy's like, no, it's almost done. It's going to render, and then we can run. And so it was just like, all we did was just sit
I don't know if
wait.
it was 3 hours, but it was late.
at least 2.
It was late as
It
fuck.
was at least 2. And we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And then the fucking payoff comes, and it was just like,
A video.
yeah. It was like,
Second
everybody's promo.
Second thing that I remember is this former business partner, Mike Crease, Todd, whatever you want to call him, who was investing at the time, was running the door, and he was setting up.
In Barclay Nation over there.
He was you know, he was running the door and he was handling the money, and he was like, I'm gonna be the business guy. He was and this is the show where we book our first women's match.
Oh boy.
And he was so mad at them not being attractive enough for him, and he was so offended
I don't want you to say who it was.
by their
Look it up.
appearance. By their appearance, both of them. He was so offended by their appearance that he just stopped working the door, and people just came in for free because he
They're
said
both great, by the way. So.
they're both great wrestlers, but he just stopped working the door because he did not want to make people pay money for this, in his opinion. So, I mean, God knows how much money we lose out on that because people are coming in throughout the 2-hour fucking delay.
And Mulberry's, folks, if you've never been there, especially if you're not excluding and watching this, it's a huge venue. It's basically just a massive.
It's an indoor volleyball, kickball,
basketball.
whatever.
But
basketball.
it's
Yeah.
like
We
have
were
like
in there
4 or
before-
5 courts stacked
Yeah,
together.
we were
It's
in there
huge.
before they were even open for business. We were like the first things in there.
It's a giant rectangle where you can hold all
Massively-
sorts of different
yeah, it's
events.
massively
Probably
wide
an
open.
old warehouse or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the third thing, on top of everything else that has happened, is Ian Rotten was there, and we had we used to make. This is why we don't make commemorative shirts anymore. We used to do like an Absolution 1 shirt, Absolution 2 shirt,
Okay.
Absolution 3 shirt. It's like a collage shirt. If you saw the Wrestle Rager shirts last year, kind of similar.
Something like that. Okay.
He wants royalties for every person that has appeared on IWA Mid-South that is on the show.
I didn't hear that, but it doesn't fucking surprise me at all.
And yeah, so we're dealing with that. And finally, Seth Rollins, of all people, says, who fucking cares about the fucking shirt? Like, leave him alone. And then when Seth Rollins says it, the problem goes away. Which Seth Rollins is an all business kind of guy. So I was
Yeah.
kind of shocked, but he bailed us out on that. So that's those were the 3 really awful things that happened at Absolution 3.
So it's yes. So
On top of the fact that we booked Rob Conway to team with Mike Tolar,
Oh, by the way,
knowing
no one has seen him yet.
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Does anybody know where Mike Tolar is?
knowing that Rob Conway, we only booked him
For the entrance.
because we wanted to hear the entrance theme, and we didn't think anyone really wanted to come see him. No offense to Rob Conway.
Yeah.
Based on his booking fee, we didn't think we were going to make it back, but we really just wanted to hear that "Just Look at Me" song on an AIW show, and that's why we did it.
But did people show up for him?
No,
Oh, okay.
Well, they did, but they didn't pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, they may have.
Well,
shown up.
but it was like
Tolar's sister was all about Rob Conway.
this. I'm sure a lot of people's sisters are all about Rob Conway, quite frankly. But it was like because the show started 2 hours late, and the first match is the fucking War Games. So not only is the show late, but then we have the War Games, and then you have to sit there while they take the cage down. You know, so it's like
forgot about that.
one match in like 3 hours.
Wait,
you know,
did you guys not even set up the cage?
No, the
before
cage was
promos?
up.
Okay,
The
all
cage
right,
was
all
up.
right, all right. So
Cage
people
was
at least
up.
knew this is going to be the first match. All right.
Yeah, so I was actually in the cage. So
That cage is the fucking worst investment I ever made.
You're Mr. Absolution. Of course you were in the cage.
fucking
get the thing
goddamn
going
right I
again.
am. And
Still a Turner Saul.
and so it was just because that was the worst part. It was like, okay, everybody, just be patient. We're gonna start the show, and then we start the show, have one match, gets a little crazy, not too much, but whatever, because it was the first match.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, everybody, now sit down and wait 20 minutes while Pedro loses his fucking mind and tears the cage down.
Say, could you go to the show?
Yeah, I was there.
Were you drunk?
Probably.
Were you on it?
What was that? No, I was not on that show.
No Jimmy Pucker poking guns?
No, sir.
The Absolution before you played catch with Colby Carino.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Were you drunk during the show? Did that help you out?
Yeah, Mulberry's was great. They had a full bar upstairs, like a full working bar.
Yeah.
And they had pitchers of beer.
So
It was a great place to have a show.
Yeah,
if
oh, for
anybody
sure.
would have come watched it. I mean, you know, but it was a good building.
And I don't remember like that taking forever, that video. Like I didn't know anything about it, but I thought it was pretty sweet how you guys projected it up on the wall like that.
Yeah, because because we had the
4 hours of preparation. It should have been.
Zeke was so drunk it felt like
the
5
only
minutes
other
ago.
thing that I just remembered about that was that's when we did the Johnny Gargano versus Tyler Black, Seth Rollins Iron Man match. And he was so pissed to see that we were projecting the timer up on the wall because he knew that he couldn't shave any time off the match.
Which one?
Seth Rollins. He was like, fuck, we got to do an actual 30 minutes.
Quick thank you to him, though, because
He recently put
Motherfucker
that
did
match over.
95 minutes on Raw like 3 months ago. Or
Brother,
whatever
I think the pay scale is a little different.
yeah,
I got to start somewhere, man.
he recently did tweet out about he and Johnny because somebody said they wanted to see that as a dream match. He said, "Oh, we did that at AIW," and threw us on the tweet. So
Which I was a little surprised about because I don't know how my relationship is with him because an AIW fan catfished him once and dropped my name and he thought I was responsible.
yeah, but in fairness, we also hooked him up with Melt, so
Yeah, I don't think he cares.
that was the thing. That's fine, and he still has that relationship ongoing. So whatever. But either way, thanks to Seth Rollins for
And
nice
fuck you
words.
to whatever fan catfished him online and dropped my name.
Oh, you know who it is.
Yeah.
I think it's Doan. Justin Doan.
That would be the least surprising thing I've ever heard.
Well, fuck that. Glad I gave that kid a stunner. Also, for those who want to go back and watch any of these things, make sure you do. You can probably see most of them at
Half of them aren't
smartmarkvideo.com.
available.
No,
Half of them aren't available.
A lot of them aren't available.
Is that
I've got 'em.
G&O with no heat available?
I'll burn 'em.
oh, yeah, that's Smart Mark Video era, brother.
All right, there you go. Smartmarkvideo.com, which also we kept saying Athena, that is, you may know better as
Ember Moon.
Ember Moon.
Some of the pre-Smart Mark Video stuff is still sold on Smart Mark Video.
Okay.
Like 2007 on, I think.
All right. There you go. Any final thoughts here, gentlemen?
No, that was a good time.
I don't think
Good
so.
time down memory lane.
Yeah.
Nick Stanko loved that entire era. Meanwhile, you guys are like, oh my God, this was
He was
awful."
drunk the whole time.
Well,
I hated
that's
it.
True.
I hated it because I'm like the awkward man in between because all the wrestlers are pissed at my friends and I can't tell my friends what to do either. So it's like, and then I have to be the one that has to hear everyone pissed off that my friend started another riot.
This all sounds very familiar
Recurring theme.
to modern era.
And here we are with Barkley Nation.
There it is.
Carrying the
Barkley
torch.
Nation.
The Barkley Brigade and the Bishop
Barkley
Nation.
Nation. Bring it on.
Other way around, brother. All right.
Keep it going, Barkley Nation.
It is scary how often the Duke gets Weird Body to pop these days.
Me and Weird Body, we're going to sitcom deal on NBC this
Dude,
fall.
quick question.
The
How do you
Odd
feel
Couple.
about non-wrestling fans?
Can you rephrase that in a way I can understand it?
You know, we're talking about like the fans that come in. That
Oh, like
don't know
people's
anything.
friends and
Yeah.
stuff? It's fine. They're paying tickets. They're buying tickets. It's fine.
Duke's job is to get people to hate him no matter what. So,
Yeah,
like,
so, I mean-
that makes it easier for him, I think. You know, like they already want to shit on everything, and he just goes out there and he's like, "Oh,
I don't know though. At the bar show, the Barkley Nation, they were really excited about Dr. Dan's education. He got a big pop when he said it. He said he was from Yale University. They were very proud of him.
well, how about that?"
If only they knew. If only they
Hey,
knew.
Greg.
I almost got in a fight with the Barkley Nation at the bar show.
I don't think you would have made
If
it.
only they knew he was.
I was ready. I was ready to
something
hop those
different.
rails, man.
Stop punching in and hitting on their girls. You'd have been fine.
I didn't even see the girls.
Oh,
I was yelling at like 4 or 5 of them in the front row. Some little dude.
oh yeah, that guy.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that another
More on
time,
him.
Duke.
More on him another time. Well, that's going to do it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of some of the absolute worst times in AIW's history. For bartender Nick Sanka, the Duke, and John Thorne, my name's Steve Guy. We'll talk to you next week, everybody.